In one famous study of American gym members, people paying more than $70 a month showed up just 4.3 times. Do the math. They were effectively paying more than $17 every time they went to the gym. There was another option available to them: $10 per visit, meaning many of these people were deliberately choosing the more expensive deal, and over the life of their memberships, they gave up roughly $600 in savings on average. Why? Because when people buy gym memberships, they don't buy based on how often they're actually going to exercise. They buy based on how often they believe they're about to exercise. And that's the business model. Not that gyms want you to disappear forever. That's too simple. The ideal customer is more interesting. You need to show up just often enough to keep believing you'll become a regular. The research comes from economists Stefano DellaVigna and Ulrike Malmendier, who studied thousands of members across 3 U.S. health clubs. They had something unusually valuable, not a survey asking people how often they thought they exercised. Actual contract choices, actual attendance records, actual cancellations. And the pattern was strange. People routinely chose unlimited monthly memberships, even when their real attendance made pay-per-visit cheaper. Think about what that means. Before joining, someone might expect Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe Saturday, 4 workouts a week. At that level, an unlimited membership looks like a bargain. But then real life happens. You're tired Monday. Wednesday, there's work. Friday, someone invites you out. Saturday, you'll definitely go, except Saturday becomes next Monday. The economics have now changed, but your membership hasn't, because the version of you who bought the membership isn't the version of you who has to use it. The buyer is optimistic, the user is tired, and the gym collects the difference. But if someone barely uses the gym, why don't they simply cancel? This is where the study found something even stranger. Monthly memberships were supposed to provide flexibility. You paid more than annual members partly because you retained the ability to quit each month. You would expect those people to cancel faster. They didn't. Monthly contract members were actually 17% more likely to still be enrolled beyond a year than people who had committed to annual contracts. The people paying extra for the freedom to leave were more likely to stay. That sounds backwards until you understand automatic renewal. An annual contract eventually creates a decision. Renew? Yes or no? A month-to-month membership doesn't necessarily create that moment. If you do nothing, the membership continues. And doing nothing is one of the easiest behaviors humans have ever invented. Think about the last month you barely exercised. At no point did you need to consciously say, I would like to waste money again next month. You simply didn't cancel. Those are psychologically different actions. Not going to the gym requires no admission. Canceling does. Canceling says, this thing I thought I was going to become, I'm apparently not doing it. And people hate closing that door, so instead we tell ourselves, I'll start Monday. I'll go after this project ends. I'll go when the weather improves. I'll go after vacation. I'll go once my schedule calms down. The membership stops being payment for exercise. It becomes payment for possibility. $20 or $40 or $70 a month buys you permission to continue believing that the future version of you works out regularly. And from the gym's perspective, that's a very attractive product, because a gym has unusual cost economics. The building is already leased, the treadmills are already purchased, the staff is already there, the lights are already on. A large portion of the costs exist whether you arrive tonight or not. But customers create very different costs depending on how much they actually use the facility. A member who comes constantly occupies machines, uses showers, uses towels where they're provided, creates cleaning requirements, adds crowding, contributes to equipment wear. A member who pays exactly the same price and visits occasionally is cheaper to serve. But there's a limit. A customer who never comes for long enough may finally notice the payment and cancel. So the best economics aren't necessarily join and disappear forever. They're closer to join. Come enough to remember why you joined, then pay during all the weeks you don't. That is much more sustainable, and there's another reason gyms can't simply discourage attendance. They still need you to want the membership. So the business faces a strange contradiction. Before you join, the gym needs you to imagine going constantly. After you join, the economics don't require you to actually do that. Look at a gym tour. Rows of equipment. Classes, mirrors, fit people, transformation stories, maybe a pool, maybe a sauna. You're not just evaluating what exists in the building. You're imagining yourself using all of it. The sale happens inside your future. You picture yourself 6 months from now. Stronger, leaner, more disciplined. The membership price gets compared against that future identity. $30 to become that person? Easy. But 6 months later, the correct comparison isn't $30 against your dream body. It's $30 against how often you've actually walked through the door. Those are very different calculations, and that's exactly what DellaVigna and Malmendier found. Their monthly members weren't just attending less than they expected. Many were paying materially more than they would have paid under another available pricing option. 80% of monthly members in their analysis would have paid less if they'd simply paid per visit for their actual attendance. That's an extraordinary number. Because nobody forced them into the expensive option. They chose it. The mistake was forecasting themselves. And this tells us something important about subscription businesses in general. The most valuable forecast a company may ever receive is your forecast about your own future behavior. Streaming service, you'll watch constantly. Language learning app, this time you're learning Spanish. Meal service, you'll cook every week. Software subscription, you'll definitely use all those features. Gym, 3 days a week. The company doesn't have to lie. You do the optimistic forecasting yourself. But the gym is an especially clean example because the cost of your optimism can be measured in footsteps through the door. And now we can finally ask, who pays? At first, the obvious answer is the inactive member. And yes, someone paying for a service they barely use is transferring money to the business. But there's a second answer. They may also be subsidizing the serious users. Imagine 2 members paying the same monthly fee. One visits 20 times, one visits twice. The heavy user is consuming far more of the gym's capacity while paying the same price. The light user helps make that possible. This is why very cheap gyms can exist. The price doesn't have to reflect the cost of serving someone who comes every day, if most people don't. In a strange way, the person wasting their membership may be helping finance the person getting extraordinary value from theirs. That's the hidden ledger. But there's still one catch. A gym doesn't want the inactive customer to realize they've become inactive. Because the moment someone stops thinking, I'll start again next week, and starts thinking, why am I paying for this? The model breaks. So perhaps the perfect gym member isn't the person who never shows up. It's the person who keeps almost showing up. They came last week. They'll definitely go tomorrow. They've still got the shoes. The membership is still active. And every month, the automatic payment preserves one very profitable idea. Next month, I'll use it more.